Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. So today we have President Donald Trump, the incumbent president, versus Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and this is going to be a very interesting election because of the fact that Rudolph is very popular amongst the United States children, and we'll see how that affects his votes amongst the parents of the children who are the ones voting in the general election. So we're going to start off with the states that border Canada. Since they do have a lot of snow, I would say that Rudolph would be able to win because he could literally, prance across the north part of the United States and just deliver presents. It could drop down into people's houses. So yeah, Ohio is included because there's I think there's a river there, or I just don't know my geography, but maybe. And then you go to the Northeast. Obviously, that would go to Rudolph because of the fact that the Northeast is very cold, and pretty much if it's cold, that means there's going to be a reindeer. And pretty much all the Democratic states would go to Rudolph because I have no idea. But they would just go to him, and then, yeah. Same thing with Illinois and Virginia, and that puts him over the 270 he needed, which means Donald Trump doesn't have a path anymore to the presidency. And then you go to a state like Alabama, which is in the spotlight right now. Since they have 9 electoral votes, and Rudolph is the 9th reindeer, he would win that state. Same thing in South Carolina. Those are pretty much the only other states. But then we look over to a state like West Virginia. They have a lot of coal mines, and since Santa is known for giving coal to people, and Rudolph has to help him deliver that, he would win in West Virginia because he would win and appeal to the coal voters. And then you go over to Wyoming. I think they have oil there or something. Yeah, okay. And then you go to South Dakota. They have that weird point, I don't know how to explain it, but they have one of those centers of the United States and North America where they have a geographic center. So that would go to Rudolph just because of that reason. And then you go over to all the states that can join at 1 point. Since it's 4 times 4 plus 1, because you're adding 2 more states and you subtract 1, that's 9 states in total. Then you would give it to Rudolph. And then you look over to a state like Texas. The state of Texas has 38 electoral votes. There are a lot less reindeer than that. So they would understand that Rudolph comes from a lesser, he doesn't grow up in the same type of family that people in Texas do. So if you think about it, they'll feel bad for him and in turn vote for him because they're represented more than Rudolph is, because Rudolph's in Canada, and then, yeah, he can win. And then you go over to a state like Alaska. Since they have a lot of snow, that should be a no-brainer. Rudolph would easily win that state. But then you go down to a state like Florida. I think Trump could win Florida because he was there the other day. So that means he would win. And then you go up to a state like Georgia. What do you think about Georgia? They had 8 inches of snow, surprisingly, and I thought they didn't yesterday, I think. But then I found out they did, and then I felt really bad. So I think that state will go to Rudolph. And then you go to a state like North Carolina. Since they have a dense African-American population, you've seen the color of Rudolph's skin, right? And the color of his fur. So therefore, he can appeal to them because he's like, hey, I grew up the same life you did. It's not like an average politician where they just lie about appealing to people. Rudolph can actually appeal because he's been working his whole life. He was neglected. He was bullied. And then he rose up from the ashes. It's one of those biggest success stories like Donald Trump. So that businessman factor cancels out. And because he does work for Santa, he would win in the predominantly Bible Belt area. So Arkansas and Mississippi, because they do believe in Santa there. And then you go up to a state like Missouri. Rudolph would obviously win Missouri just because he needs to connect Iowa and Missouri in order to get across the United States. And then if you see the way he traverses around the United States with Santa, he always lands in Nebraska and Omaha, and then you go to Kansas and Oklahoma, and then you have to give it to Rudolph. So this is the final electoral map. We have 509 electoral votes for Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and of course 29 for the President of the United States, Donald Trump. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you all tomorrow.